Kamala Harris announced her VP pick today, and this ticket's so liberal it's like they're trying to lose. Here's the authentic, not staged at all call Kamala made to the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz.
Hi, this is Tim.
It's Kamala Harris. Good morning, Governor.
Good morning, Madam Vice President.
Listen, I want you to do this with me. Let's do this together. Would you be my running mate and let's get this thing on the road?
I would be honored, Madam Vice President.
This was Kamala's first major decision, and she choked. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro was the frontrunner, but sources say he was too Jewish for the Hamas wing of the party and was too talented a campaigner and would steal the spotlight from Harris. So her cowardice and her insecurities forced her to choose the only guy who looks older than Biden. Here they are together in Philly.
Since the day that I announced my candidacy, I set out to find a partner who can help build this brighter future. With his experience, I'm telling you, Tim Walz will be ready on day one. And now, welcome the next Vice President of the United States, Tim Walz.
Wow. Thank you for bringing back the joy. I couldn't be prouder to be on this ticket and to help Vice President Harris become what we all know is very, very good for us to think about. Next President of the United States of America. So we got 91 days. My God, that's easy. We'll sleep when we're dead.
In the one opportunity Kamala had to separate herself from the Biden administration, she chose a sloppier version of Biden. Do the chemists in the Democrat lab think you have to pair old white guys with young black women? Tim Walz looks like Biden and sounds like Bernie.
We can get out there, reach out, make the case. And for one thing, don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
How did Kamala make a vice president more radical than she is? They're the Jordan and Pippen of progressives. The last time Harris and Walz tangoed, he let rioters burn down Minneapolis, and she bailed him out. Walz blamed America for the Black Lives Matter riots and said they were exciting.
A society that does not put equity and inclusion at the center of it is certainly going to eventually come to the places where we're at. They're going to want fundamental change. And that is what I think, that's one of the exciting things in the midst of all this. You can feel a sense of optimism coming back.
The Minneapolis mayor was begging Governor Walz to deploy the National Guard, and Walz told the Guard, stand down. He told the police to surrender their precincts, and once the city was a pile of ashes, he defunded the police. What kind of Midwestern dad with Midwestern values lets a city burn to a crisp and then lets crooked donors swoop in and buy up the real estate on the cheap? When haters were ripping down statues of Columbus, Walz didn't stop them.
It was an act of civil disobedience that we need to make sure people feel that there is a proper outlet to address what are legitimate concerns around what they view as a genocidal monument that they have to walk to in their democracy.
It's our democracy, too. If Kamala was the most radical senator, Tim Walz is the most radical governor. When Kamala was letting illegals pour in, Walz was giving them driver's license and free tuition. Minnesota's a sanctuary state, and he wants to help make America a sanctuary country.
You know, he talks about this wall. I always say, let me know how high it is. If it's 25 feet, then I'll invest in the 30-foot ladder factory. That's not how you stop this.
Walz let his best city burn down, flooded it with illegals, and helped cancel the state flag to make it look more like the flag of Somalia. How do we know this guy's crazy? Squad loves him. Omar, AOC, thrilled. Bernie, thrilled. The Democrat Socialists of America, thrilled. Offering up an over-the-top endorsement as if Walz was Castro. Dylan's thrilled because Walz turned Minnesota into a sanctuary state for sex change operations for children. No age limits.
We want every Minnesotan to grow up feeling safe, valued, protected, celebrated, and free to exist as their authentic versions of themselves. Protecting and supporting access to gender-affirming health care is essential to being a welcoming and supportive state to the community.
Walz signed a bill that removes a child from their parents' home if the parents don't want to castrate them. He's sick. Walz forced schools to stock tampons in boys' bathrooms. Tampons in 4th grade boys' bathrooms. What a freak. What do boys need tampons for? This guy's not Minnesota nice, he's Minnesota nuts. Minnesota lockdowns were worse than California's. Not only did he keep schools and churches locked down, but he set up a hotline so your neighbors could snitch on you for leaving your house without a mask. He probably learned this from China, where he visited 30 times. Weird, right? I'm sure he paid for all those trips himself on a teacher's salary. Walz spent his honeymoon in China. He's being groomed by the Chinese. Now, if I was the FBI, I'd do a background check, just to be safe. He loves China just as much as Biden. 3 months before Biden detonated himself at the debate, Walz was full steam ahead on the cover-up, said Biden was fresher than ever.
I think this week watching, some of the media colleagues look at this, a new Joe Biden. No, it's not. It's the same competent Joe Biden that's been delivering for us. Governors understand that because we have to do it every single day.
Walz has a lot of common in Paulie P. Remember Paulie? He T-boned a seasonal worker, then handed the Highway Patrol a donor card. Walz was caught drunk driving, 96 and a 55. Claimed he wasn't actually drunk. He was just deaf from serving in the military. But he actually blew a .12. Walz served in the National Guard until his unit was deployed to Iraq, and then he abandoned them.
Back in 2005, a warning order went out to the 1st Battalion, 125th Field Artillery to mobilize for a mission to Iraq. At the time, Walz served as the unit's highest non-commissioned officer. But months later, Walz would retire from the Guard, avoid the deployment, and run for Congress.
The public needs to know how pathetic his leadership was as a National Guardsman. He abandoned us. What the hell kind of leader does that? He just, as soon as the shots were fired in Iraq, he turned and ran the other way and hung his hat up and quit.
When soldiers, police, and families needed Walz the most, he walked away. This is a trick pick. Democrats think they can trick you with an old white guy from the Midwest. But he's a freak in sheep's clothing. Democrats can't be honest about who they are. They have to lie to you and hide their positions. But there's something else going on here. Obama didn't want Kamala. He wanted an open convention. But Biden endorsed her before Barack could make a move. So Barack put Eric Holder, his wingman, in charge of Kamala's VP vetting. And Holder just served up Walz, creating the craziest ticket in history. Is Walz just a sacrificial lamb? Do they know they're going to lose? Because all the talented Democrats are being kept on ice for 28.